I just thought I'd start putting together a video and send it out every Monday, just so everybody knows what's going on or what's happening in the background. So today we're just going to talk about these the web page, the learning management system, the curriculum plans, the launch timeframe, and WhatsApp and Telegram. So just about the web page, so it's going to be equityed.com.au. I'm just finalising the framework of what's in the website, and then I'll send it around for everybody to access it and have a look, and we'll collaborate and work out what changes need to be made or what additions we could add. So basically what we've got in there is that we've got an introduction to EquityEd. We've got the breakdown for secondary level education, higher education, and vocational education. So then they can go to a page which outlines what courses are currently being offered in phase one. So that's secondary level education is the year 12 stuff. Higher education is the Master of Law and Jurisprudence, which Adele is putting together. And one of the other ones, which had come up in conversation a couple of times, I know Dr. DS had mentioned it about what is required for rebuilding Afghanistan. Academic skills is great, but there's sort of the necessary skills to be able to do things is necessary as well. And I think this came up in a couple of conversations. So I've added vocational education to the courses which are being added. So currently I've just got the some outlines for developing business skills. Now, in Australia, we have the certificates which go from certificate 1 through to certificate 4, and then basically certificate 5 is a diploma. So the certificate 1, certificate 2, certificate 3, etc. is more about just finding, just learning the necessary skills. So these are all at certificate 3. So we've got developing business skills, so what the basic requirements are in business. The next one is developing administration skills, being able to prepare for things like payroll, to work an accounting software, to operate business software. And the third one is developing entrepreneurial skills in business. So this is probably more like a diploma level. So once they go through the developing the business skills and the administration skills, then they would be in a position to do the entrepreneurial skills. So I thought that type of skill set would be excellent for women who want to perhaps engage in business or start to build a business. The other two pages which I've added as well, and this is really just open up for discussion, because it's been mentioned with Shakofa, and I think we all appreciate that perhaps there does need to be some connection point for Afghan women academics. Now I know Shakofa is doing something already, so if this could be of an assistance, that's fine, or if it's a nuisance, we can sort of just delete it. And the other thing, just this last one, was just the conversations that I've had and we've had, just about the ability for perhaps women to generate some income. So the idea was to have part of the website and put on it an area where products can be advertised, and then they can be bought and they can be paid directly to the women selling them. Now, there's lots of ways that we can do this. We could probably just find out what things are popular to start off with. And then, because I don't think we really need to worry so much about lead time between the customer placing an order and actually receiving them, because I think everybody understands what the situation is in Afghanistan, and it would be more about people feeling that they're contributing to helping the women of Afghanistan rather than the actual product itself. So what I was thinking is that people could place orders, and when we've got sufficient size for a box, that we can organise the shipment of it from Afghanistan here to Australia, and then distribute it to the customers. Again, that is just a thought, a germ of an idea. Now, just about the learning management system, because of urgency, rather than going down the path of getting a learning management system customised, which would then mean that we'd just end up with the EquityEd.com.au as sort of being the tail end of whatever we actually call the site. But because of urgency and just trying to get something out to students as soon as possible, I've just gone with the off-the-shelf system which Moodle has. Basically, they manage it in that they support it. If there's any problems, we get in contact with them. It just has a monthly rental to it, which is fine. I'm covering it right now, so that will be fine. But it just means that there's a lot of the elements which would make it perhaps a little bit more attractive are probably missing at this point in time. But it's still operational. It'll still work well. It's just not quite as pretty as it probably could be. So within the LMS site, so it's called EquityEd at moodlecloud.com. We've got the three areas which are set up for secondary level education, for higher education, and for vocational education. Now, when I say set up, there's places within the learning management system to start building those courses, the subjects, and the lesson plans. So that's going along quite smoothly. Now, what I'm going to do with the secondary level education classes is that I'm going to get a company called Curio.co to actually put those together, because they've offered to do it. Now, what it actually required beforehand is to determine the pedagogy that we're actually going to use for delivery of this particular unit. And one of the problems that we have, of course, is that I don't think anybody has ever put secondary level education online except through the COVID period. So what has to be done is that we've determined how the classes are going to work. So in essence, what we've got is an area before the class where they do some preparation time. These are the low-level cognitive skills, the idea of doing a bit of reading, understanding the names, etc., or the different concepts. Then there's the actual online class with the teacher and the other students. And this is where we have the higher cognitive activities where they're with English in particular, where they're talking with words, or they're talking about grammar and sentence structure and those types of things. And then the third part for each lesson is the after class activity, which is in preparation for the next class. And then the next class would follow in the same way, that there'd be some preparatory work before the class. Then there's the 45 minutes face-to-face. Then at the end there's another short bit of homework before the next class. That type of program will provide the ability to socialise within that 45 minutes, but also be able to concentrate more on that social activity, those social cognitive activities, and then some of the preparation, the lower levels, can be done before and after class. The situation for, or the pedagogy for the higher education may be slightly different, because it won't be the same amount of lecturer presence. I'm thinking more of that, although the courses will be 10 weeks, and each week would be a different module, and there would probably just be 1 hour per week where there is face-to-face student-teacher involvement. Now, look, that can be changed. I mean, there may be some of the areas where there needs to be more student-teacher interaction. That's fine. We can build all of that in. So the original Moodle system, which I was using before, it only allowed for one collaborator, but I've actually gone to the next level now. So instead of having 50 students, now we've got 100 students. But it also means that there's multiple people can now collaborate, access the course and do things with it. So with that in mind, I'll be sending out links for everybody to be able to log on to the Moodle site and just see what is happening there. Now, just with planning for the curriculum, now all the courses and how we're going to be structured is going to be based on what happens here in Australia, and it just means that courses will be internationally recognised. The framework is not that difficult, providing you plan ahead. So there's several government bodies which control education. So we've got the tertiary education qualification framework, which is basically what you need to be able to register a university. And there's one for online courses as well, which have to match the framework which they put forward, and similarly with secondary education. Now, like I said, to first look, it does look a bit daunting with all these things that you need to satisfy. But one of the benefits that we have is, because we're starting from nothing and then building up, we can base it on the existing frameworks. One of the problems that a lot of education institutions have is that quite often it's a collection of legacy systems which they're using to teach that have evolved over a long period of time, and because there's been many people involved in it, quite often the courses tend to deviate away from what needs to happen. But if we plan it right at the start, it won't be too difficult or odious to put together. Basically, it just works on the idea of a learning objective. So if you have a particular course, what are the learning objectives of that particular course, and at what level are they pitched? So obviously, if you're designing a course for secondary level education, that's going to be slightly different to a university level education. So it's to do with these, the cognitive skills. So with high school or secondary level education and vocational training, the cognitive skills are lower, whereas with university the cognitive skills requirements are a lot higher. So, but once we have the learning objectives in place, and they're not hard to do, then we just take it from there, and then we break down the course for how many modules or whatever we're going to have, or lessons. And then for each lesson, we have the lesson objective, so what we are trying to achieve in that particular class, and whether they reflect the learning objectives for the course. And then what that's done, once that's been done, then it's just building in the content to satisfy the lesson objectives. And then the final part is assessment. So the assessment, again, is not that hard, but what you're trying to do is to establish that the lesson objectives have been met, and then similarly at the end of the course that all the learning objectives have been satisfied, and they've been assessed as the students having satisfied those requirements. And again, the reasons why courses have difficulty, particularly when they're audited by one of the government bodies, and it happens quite regularly, and it's probably a good thing. But from time to time, the universities or colleges, they don't, unless it's really bad, they can be closed down. But normally what would happen is that the difference between the ideal and what's being offered needs to be satisfied to be keep the accreditation. So usually universities have a period of time to be able to do that in. Now, both universities which I work at are having currently going through that situation now. But that's only two of, I don't know, probably about 8 or 12 universities here in Australia, and every university will go through the same thing. Because what happens is that you outline your course, you design your course, you put it in place, and then over the years, the academics will come in and say, oh, I think we should move it around like this, blah, blah, blah. And then what happens is that, the scope of the course starts to drift away, and then the assessments don't actually reflect the learning objectives, and then that becomes a bit of a problem. But it's really not as hard as it looks, and like I said, the advantage that we have is that we're starting with nothing, and so we can plan it very easily. Now, just about the launch timeframes. Now, these have been difficult. Well, they are difficult because a lot of the things that we're working with are the unknowns. However, I think the expression that all roads lead to Rome, and if they don't, they go somewhere else. So I think we just need to bite the bullet and say, okay, well, this is the objective, and give it a time frame, and then work towards that. Otherwise, it can go on for a long period of time when we find that we've got to make this change or we should make that change. What I want to do, and I think what we all want to do, is to get something up and running which satisfies the objectives as soon as possible. Some of the other things we can improve, but as long as we've got the teaching material which satisfies the objectives and the ability to deliver it to the students and the ability for the students to access it and get the appropriate benefit out of it. This is what the current goal is. So I've set the 1st of October for the first class of the secondary level education to be run, and I think this is achievable. Now it might be a situation that we don't have the complete Year 12 curriculum all laid out and ready to go, but it could be that we're as we're delivering lessons, we're building lessons. But I don't think that matters as long as we have the lessons prepared before the students have to undertake them. So that's is the plan. It is achievable. Basically, everything is in place now with respect to the infrastructure. The only thing that we need is to build out the content for the lessons, to train the teacher of what needs to be done, and then get the students and probably train the students what needs to be done as well. But I think it is achievable, and that is basically the plan. Now with higher education, now this may be a little bit differently. One of the benefits that we have with the secondary level education is that we've already have a copy of the complete curriculum for Year 12, so it's just easy, just basically just copying it into the learning management system. The higher ed will be a little bit different because we have to build these courses from scratch, so that will take a bit of time. And I think how the approach should be, we'll talk about this in detail, but I think how the approach should be is for, we just have an idea of what the framework should be for a unit that is the learning objectives and all the other things, and then to find a suitable academic if it is outside of Adele's range of knowledge, that then we can approach academics to come up with the content, and then we can put it together into the courses, and then basically the lessons. So at this point in time, we'll follow Adele's time frame, which I think was around about February for next year. But I think we would all like to perhaps get something started a little bit earlier. Now with the vocational education, I suppose this is very much a thought bubble. So we don't really, we already have an idea of the level of interest in secondary education, the level of interest in the higher education, but we don't really know if there is any interest in the vocational education. So we need to find that out. But again, getting the courses together won't take that much time. It's actually, in my experience, the many years that I have been teaching, I have actually prepared and built courses in the vocational education. So it won't take very hard to put those courses together, depending on what the level of interest is. So that's why I think probably the 1st of January 2024. Now for the Forum for Afghan Women Academics, it's just if it is of interest. Oh, excuse me. If it is of interest, and it'll be how Shakofa feels that it basically should be put together, if it is put together, just based on what Shakofa is trying to do and what her interest to date is. Now with the bazaar again, probably another bit of a thought. Even with the name, I mean, I've only just come up with that, and there are probably all sorts of issues with it. So that's very easy to change if there is for a better name. And it's just basically an online marketplace, and that will be very easy to set up as well. So again, just interest in whether we think it's a good path to follow. And just finally, just about WhatsApp and Telegram. Now I think WhatsApp is probably the ideal medium for communicating with students, because basically they all seem to be connected to it. So what I've done, and look, similarly here in Australia, it's one of the common things which a lot of students and a number of academics use as well. I personally have just shied away from it, but that's I personally just haven't required to use it, but I certainly see the benefits in it. So what I've done, we have a EquityEd WhatsApp business account. Now this means that we can get in contact with students. We can list the range of products. So this includes our courses, the academic courses, also the vocational courses, and also the women's academic connection, if we're going to follow that, and similarly with the online market for products, although that would probably be more aimed at outside of Afghanistan and internally. And the other thing is that I've connected to Telegram as well. Again, another communication application that I know a lot of students are connected to. So look, in essence, that was just basically to just set the scene for what I intend to do every Monday. Is to just update everybody to what is happening, so we're all aware. Now, all of this, please, it's a collaboration. I'm just putting these things down, and they can be adjusted, changed. The benefit is to provide value to Afghan students, girls and women. So look, any of this, I'm not welded to it. It really is just a suggestion, and it certainly can be improved on, and I look forward to comments, suggestions of how we can make this very workable. So I'll be sending one of these out every Monday, and feel free if you want to organise a call or some discussion or whatever during the week. I'm pretty free for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I've just got classes on a Wednesday night and a Saturday evening. and the rest of the time I'm basically in my office doing administrative stuff. So it's fairly easy to find flexibility to for discussions. All right, so we'll leave it there.